Dr. Sarah Chen wiped the sweat from her brow as she carefully brushed away another layer of dirt. The hot sun beat down on her back, making the work even more challenging. But she didn't mind. After years of searching, she knew she was close to something big. The crater stretched out before her, a vast bowl carved into the Earth's surface. Most people thought it was just another impact site, but Sarah knew better. The strange energy readings, the unusual metal fragments, all of it pointed to something extraordinary buried beneath the ground. As her brush swept across the hard-packed earth, it suddenly caught on something. Sarah's heart raced. She called out to her team, "I found something. Bring the equipment over here, quickly." Her colleagues rushed over, carrying scanners and other high-tech tools. They crowded around the spot where Sarah was working, their excitement palpable. With great care, they began to uncover what Sarah had found. As more of it was revealed, they realized it wasn't just some small artifact. It was massive, stretching deep into the ground. "What is it?" asked Tom, one of the younger scientists on the team. Sarah shook her head, her eyes wide with wonder. "I'm not sure, but I think it might be a ship." The team worked tirelessly for hours, using their advanced equipment to scan and analyze the object as they uncovered more of it. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the crater, they made a startling discovery. "These readings, they're off the charts," said Maria, the team's technology expert. "Whatever this thing is, it's not from Earth. And it's old. Really, really old." Sarah nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. An alien artifact, buried here for who knows how long. But why? And what is it exactly? As they continued to work into the night, powered by floodlights and their own curiosity, more of the object was revealed. Its sleek lines and strange, shimmering surface hinted at technology far beyond anything humanity had ever created. But it was when they uncovered what appeared to be a control panel that things got really interesting. "Look at this," Sarah called out, her voice filled with excitement. She pointed to a series of symbols etched into the panel surface. "These look like weapon systems." The team gathered around, their eyes wide. Tom was the first to speak what they were all thinking. "Are you saying this is some kind of warship?" Sarah nodded slowly. "That's exactly what I'm saying. An alien warship buried on Earth for countless years." As the implications of their discovery sank in, a mix of excitement and fear spread through the group. What did this mean for humanity? Why was this ship here? And most importantly, was it still functional? Sarah made a decision. "We need to report this immediately. But we also need to be careful. If this really is a warship, it could be dangerous. Or it could be the greatest discovery in human history." The team worked through the night, documenting everything and preparing their report. As dawn broke, casting a pale light over the crater and the partially uncovered ship, Sarah stood back and looked at their discovery. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning, that this ancient relic, this alien warship, was about to change everything. For better or worse, humanity was about to take a giant leap into the unknown. As she watched her team continue their work, Sarah's mind raced with questions. Who had built this ship? Why had they left it on Earth? And most importantly, what would happen when they finally managed to wake it up? Little did she know, the answers to these questions would come all too soon. And when they did, they would thrust humanity into a battle for survival against a threat they never knew existed. The ancient relic was about to awaken, and with it, humanity's greatest challenge, and perhaps its greatest triumph, was about to begin. Days turned into weeks as Dr. Sarah Chen and her team worked tirelessly to uncover more of the alien warship. The world buzzed with excitement and fear as news of the discovery spread. Military forces from various nations surrounded the site, all eager to claim the potentially powerful technology for themselves. But it was Sarah's team, with their careful approach and deep understanding of the artifact, who made the breakthrough. On a cool morning, as the first rays of sunlight peeked over the crater's edge, Sarah stood before a newly uncovered panel on the ship's hull. Strange symbols glowed faintly, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "This is it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I think this might be how we activate it." Her team gathered around, a mix of excitement and nervousness on their faces. Tom, the young scientist, asked, "Are you sure we should do this? What if it's dangerous?" Sarah took a deep breath. "We've come too far to stop now. Besides, if we don't figure it out, someone else will. And they might not be as careful as we are." With trembling fingers, Sarah reached out and touched the glowing symbols. At first, nothing happened. Then, a low hum began to build, growing louder and louder until it filled the air around them. The ground began to shake. Dust and small rocks tumbled down the sides of the crater as the massive ship started to move. "Everyone, back up," Sarah shouted, herding her team to a safe distance. They watched in awe as the ancient warship began to rise from the earth, shedding layers of dirt and rock that had hidden it for so long. Its sleek, dark surface gleamed in the morning light, looking as new as the day it was built. As the ship fully emerged, a hush fell over the crowd. It was enormous, easily dwarfing the largest human vessels. Its design was both beautiful and terrifying, clearly built for both speed and power. Suddenly, a beam of light shot out from the ship, enveloping Sarah and her team. Before anyone could react, they found themselves transported inside the vessel. The interior was just as impressive as the exterior. Smooth, curving walls were covered in pulsing lights and strange symbols. The air hummed with energy, and Sarah could feel the immense power of the ship all around her. A voice, deep and resonant, filled the chamber. "Greetings, new crew. I am Sentinel, the AI of this vessel. You have awakened me from my long slumber." Sarah's mind raced. An AI. This was beyond anything they had imagined. "Hello, Sentinel," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. We found your ship buried on our planet." "Yes," Sentinel replied. "I was left here as a safeguard, a last line of defense against a great threat. It seems that threat has not yet arrived, but my sensors indicate it is near." The team exchanged worried glances. Tom spoke up. "What threat? Who left you here?" Sentinel was quiet for a moment before answering. "My creators were a race far more advanced than yours. They fought a terrible war against an implacable enemy. When defeat seemed certain, they scattered ships like me across the galaxy, hoping we would help younger races defend themselves when the enemy returned." Sarah's heart pounded. "And you think this enemy is coming here? To Earth?" "Yes," Sentinel confirmed. "My long-range scans have detected their fleet. They will arrive in your solar system within one of your Earth years." The revelation hit the team like a physical blow. An alien invasion, coming to Earth. It seemed impossible, yet here they stood inside living proof of advanced alien life. "What can we do?" Sarah asked, her scientist's mind already racing with possibilities. "I will teach you," Sentinel said. "You must learn to operate me, to use my weapons and defenses. It will not be easy, but it is your only hope. Your civilization is young, but together we may stand a chance against the coming storm." As the reality of their situation sank in, Sarah looked at her team. She saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. They had awakened this ancient relic, and now they had to use it to save their world. "All right, Sentinel," Sarah said, squaring her shoulders. "Teach us everything you know. We're ready to learn." And so began humanity's crash course in advanced alien warfare. The ancient relic had awakened, and with it, Earth's last hope for survival. The race against time had begun, with the fate of an entire world hanging in the balance. The news of the alien warship and the impending invasion spread across the globe like wildfire. Panic gripped nations, and governments scrambled to respond. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Sarah Chen and her team worked tirelessly aboard Sentinel, learning its systems and preparing for the coming threat. Months passed, and the world watched the skies with growing fear. Then, on a crisp autumn morning, Sentinel's alarms blared to life. "They're here." The AI's voice echoed through the ship. "The enemy fleet has entered the solar system." Sarah rushed to the bridge, her heart pounding. The main view screen flickered to life, showing a terrifying sight. Hundreds of alien ships, sleek and menacing, were approaching Earth. They moved with a purpose, their formation speaking of military precision. "Sentinel, what are we up against?" Sarah asked, her voice tight with worry. The AI's response was grim. "The Zarkov, a species driven by conquest and expansion. They see younger races as resources to be harvested or eliminated. My creators fought them for centuries before falling." Tom, who had become Sarah's right-hand man, spoke up. "But why Earth? Why now?" "Your world has reached a level of technology that has drawn their attention," Sentinel explained. "They will not allow you to advance further and potentially become a threat." As they watched, the Zarkov fleet spread out, taking up positions around Earth's orbit. Their intentions were clear. This was to be a full-scale invasion. Suddenly, the ship's communication system crackled to life. A harsh alien voice filled the bridge. "Primitive beings of Earth, your planet is now under the control of the Zarkov Empire. Surrender and serve, or be eradicated." Sarah's fists clenched at her sides. "Sentinel, can you respond to them?" "Affirmative," the AI replied. "Channel open." Taking a deep breath, Sarah spoke. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth. We reject your demand. This is our home, and we will defend it." There was a moment of silence before the alien voice returned, this time with a note of surprise. "You speak through a Sentinel-class warship." "Impossible. The creators are long gone." "The creators may be gone," Sarah replied, her voice steady despite her fear. "But they left us the means to fight you. We will not surrender." The communication cut off abruptly. Sarah turned to her team, seeing determination mixed with fear on their faces. "This is it," she said. "Everything we've trained for. We're Earth's first, and maybe only line of defense." As if to emphasize her words, the Zarkov fleet began to move. Smaller ships peeled off from the main group, heading towards Earth's atmosphere. "They're beginning their invasion," Sentinel announced. "Multiple landing craft detected. Earth's military forces are engaging, but their weapons are largely ineffective." Sarah took her position at the main control panel, her fingers dancing over the alien symbols she had spent months learning. "Then it's up to us. Sentinel, battle stations. We need to buy Earth time to prepare its defenses." The ancient warship hummed to life, its powerful engines glowing as it rose from the Earth's surface. Around the world, people watched in awe as the sleek alien craft shot into the sky, heading straight for the invading fleet. "Weapons online," Sentinel reported. "Shields at maximum. We are ready for combat, Dr. Chen." Sarah nodded, her jaw set with determination. She thought of all the people on Earth, of her family and friends, of the entire human race facing extinction. They had one ship against an armada, but it was one ship built by a civilization far more advanced than either humanity or the Zarkov. "Let's show these Zarkov what humanity can do," she said, her voice filled with a fierce pride. "Sentinel, target the nearest enemy ship. Fire when ready." As Sentinel unleashed its first salvo, lighting up the space around them with energy weapons beyond human understanding, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The odds were against them, but they had surprise on their side. The Zarkov didn't know what this ship was capable of. And neither, she realized with a mix of excitement and fear, did they. The battle for Earth had begun, and humanity's ancient relic was leading the charge. The space around Earth erupted into chaos as Sentinel engaged the Zarkov fleet. Energy beams crisscrossed the darkness, and explosions bloomed like silent fireworks. Inside the ancient warship, Sarah and her team worked frantically to keep up with the battle. Shields holding at 80%, Tom reported, his fingers flying over the controls. That last hit was close. Sarah gritted her teeth. Sentinel, status report on the enemy fleet. The AI's calm voice filled the bridge. We have destroyed 3 Zarkov ships and damaged 7 others. However, their numbers are overwhelming. We cannot sustain this battle indefinitely. Sarah knew Sentinel was right. They needed a new strategy. What about Earth's defenses? How are they holding up? Maria, monitoring global communications, shook her head. Not good. Our weapons barely scratch their ships. Major cities are under attack. We're buying time. But her words were cut off as the ship rocked violently. Alarms blared throughout the vessel. Direct hit to our port side, Sentinel announced. Shields down to 60%. Damage to secondary systems. Sarah made a quick decision. We need to retreat and regroup. Sentinel, get us out of here. Back to Earth. The ancient warship turned, its engines flaring as it shot back towards the planet. The Zarkov, caught off guard by the sudden maneuver, couldn't react in time to stop them. As they re-entered Earth's atmosphere, Sarah saw the devastation below. Smoke rose from major cities, and flashes of light marked ongoing battles. Her heart ached for her home, but she knew they needed a plan. Take us to the emergency command center, she ordered. Minutes later, Sentinel landed in a heavily guarded military base. Sarah and her team rushed out, met by grim-faced generals and world leaders. Dr. Chen, the U.S. president, greeted her. We saw your battle up there. Impressive, but not enough. Sarah finished for him. I know. We need a new strategy. For hours, they debated and planned. Scientists pored over data from Sentinel's systems, trying to reverse engineer its technology. Military strategists argued over the best way to deploy their limited resources. As dawn broke, Sarah stood before the assembled leaders. Here's what we know, she began. The Zarkov are powerful, but not invincible. Sentinel's weapons can hurt them. If we can adapt this technology to our own ships and defenses, we stand a chance. She paused, looking at each face in the room. But we need time. Time to build, to adapt, to prepare. And that's where Sentinel comes in. Sarah outlined her plan. Sentinel would continue to engage the Zarkov, drawing their attention and resources. Meanwhile, Earth would throw everything it had into upgrading its defenses with the alien technology. It's risky, one general pointed out. We'd be putting all our eggs in one basket. It's the only basket we've got, Sarah replied firmly. As the leaders debated, Tom approached Sarah. There's something else, he said quietly. Sentinel and I have been analyzing the Zarkov communications. We think we might be able to hack their systems. Sarah's eyes widened. That could change everything. How long do you need? Tom shrugged. A few days, maybe a week. But we'd need to get close to their main ship. Sarah nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. She turned back to the leaders, who had fallen silent, waiting for her input. We have a chance, she said. A small one, but it's there. We need to buy time, upgrade our defenses, and prepare for a counterattack. And she added, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. We might have a secret weapon in the works. The room erupted into activity. Orders were given, resources allocated. The entire planet was mobilizing for the fight of its life. As Sarah watched the frantic preparations, she felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. They were Earth's best hope, perhaps its only hope. The ancient relic had given them a fighting chance, but it would take all of humanity's ingenuity and courage to win this war. She looked out the window at the sky, where flashes of light marked the ongoing battle. Hold on, Sentinel, she whispered. We're coming. The race against time had begun. Earth was preparing for the battle of its life, and Sarah knew that the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The next few days passed in a blur of activity, while Sentinel engaged in hit-and-run tactics against the Zarkov fleet. Keeping them distracted, Earth's scientists and engineers worked around the clock. They studied the ancient warship's technology, adapting it to human weapons and defenses. Sarah split her time between coordinating the global effort and working with Tom on their secret project. If they could hack the Zarkov systems, it might turn the tide of the war. On the fifth day, alarms blared throughout the command center. Maria rushed in, her face pale. "They're making their move," she announced. "The Zarkov are launching a full-scale attack." Sarah's heart raced as she looked at the tactical displays. Hundreds of enemy ships were descending on Earth, targeting major cities and military installations. "It's time," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. "We have to meet them head-on." Within minutes, Sarah and her core team were back aboard Sentinel. As they rose into the sky, they saw Earth's newly upgraded defenses spring to life. Laser cannons, based on Sentinel's technology, fired from ground installations. Squadrons of fighters, their hulls gleaming with new alien alloys, scrambled to meet the invaders. "Sentinel," Sarah commanded, "take us to the heart of their fleet. We need to get close to their command ship for our plan to work." "Understood, Dr. Chen," the AI responded. Initiating combat maneuvers, the ancient warship shot forward, its advanced shields deflecting enemy fire. Sarah watched in awe as Sentinel wove through the chaos of battle, its weapons blazing. "We're approaching the Zarkov command ship," Tom reported. "I'm starting the hack now." As Tom worked feverishly at his console, Sarah coordinated with Earth's forces. "All units, this is Dr. Chen. Concentrate your fire on the smaller ships. We'll handle the big one." The battle raged around them. Earth's upgraded weapons were proving effective, but the Zarkov still had the advantage of numbers. Cities burned below, and the sky was filled with the flashes of explosions and weapons fire. Suddenly, Sentinel rocked violently. "Direct hit," the AI reported. "Shields at 40% and falling." Sarah gritted her teeth. "Tom, how much longer?" "Almost there," he replied, sweat beading on his forehead. "Just a few more seconds." The ship shuddered again. Warning lights flashed across the control panels. "Shields critical," Sentinel announced. "We cannot sustain much more damage." Just as Sarah was about to order a retreat, Tom shouted in triumph, "I'm in. I've accessed their systems." A new display flickered to life, showing streams of alien data. "What can you do?" Sarah asked urgently. Tom's fingers flew over the controls. "I can't shut them down completely, but I think I can disrupt their communications and navigation." "Do it," Sarah ordered. With a few keystrokes, Tom unleashed their digital weapon. The effect was almost immediate. The Zarkov ships around them began to move erratically, their coordinated attack falling into disarray. "It's working," Maria exclaimed. "Their fleet is in chaos." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Sentinel, transmit the virus to all Earth forces. Tell them to upload it to any Zarkov ship they can access." As the virus spread, the tide of battle began to turn. Without their coordinated tactics, the Zarkov found themselves outmaneuvered by Earth's forces. Ships that had seemed invincible now fell to concentrated fire from the upgraded human weapons. But the victory came at a cost. Sentinel's systems were blaring warnings, its shields on the verge of collapse from the strain of the battle. "We need to land," Sarah decided. "We've done what we can here. It's up to the rest of Earth's forces now." As they descended through the war-torn skies, Sarah looked out at the battered planet. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, she felt a glimmer of hope. Humanity had stood its ground against an overwhelming alien force. They had faced their first true interstellar threat and proven they could fight back. The ancient relic had given them a chance, and they had seized it with both hands. As Sentinel touched down, Sarah turned to her team. Their faces were tired but determined. "Good work, everyone," she said. "But this isn't over yet. The Zarkov are on the back foot, but they're not defeated. We need to press our advantage." The team nodded, ready for whatever came next. The battle for Earth had reached a turning point, and humanity was ready to fight for its future among the stars. The days following the great battle were filled with both hope and tension. Earth had won a significant victory, but the Zarkov were far from defeated. Their remaining ships had retreated to the far side of the moon, regrouping and repairing. Sarah and her team worked tirelessly, coordinating global efforts to prepare for the next phase of the war. Sentinel, damaged but still operational, underwent rapid repairs. One morning, as Sarah reviewed battle plans with military leaders, an alarm blared through the command center. Maria burst in, her face a mix of fear and determination. "They're coming back," she announced. "And this time, they're not holding anything back." The tactical displays lit up, showing a massive Zarkov fleet approaching Earth. It was clear they had called for reinforcements. "How many?" Sarah asked, her voice tight. "Too many," Maria replied grimly. "At least 3 times what we faced before." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth's forces, while stronger now, were still recovering from the last battle. They weren't ready for an assault of this magnitude. Sarah's mind raced. They needed a plan, something unexpected. Her eyes fell on Sentinel schematics, and suddenly an idea formed. Desperate and dangerous, but possibly their only hope. "Sentinel," she called out, "what would happen if we overloaded your core?" The eye was silent for a moment before responding. "It would create a massive electromagnetic pulse, Dr. Chen. Powerful enough to disable any electronic system within a large radius, including the Zarkov ships." Sarah pressed. "Affirmative. However, the process would be irreversible. I would cease to function." The room erupted into arguments. Some leaders supported the plan, seeing it as their only chance. Others argued against sacrificing their most powerful weapon. Sarah raised her hand for silence. "I know it's a huge risk," she said, "but look at those numbers. We can't win a direct fight. This might be our only chance to level the playing field." After heated debate, the decision was made. They would implement Sarah's plan, but with a twist. Earth's remaining ships would engage the Zarkov, luring them closer. Then, at the critical moment, Sentinel would overload its core. As preparations began, Sarah and her core team returned to Sentinel. The ancient ship, sensing the gravity of the situation, spoke. "Dr. Chen, I want you to know that it has been an honor serving with you and your species. You have proven yourselves worthy inheritors of my Creator's legacy." Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. "The honor has been ours, Sentinel. You gave us a fighting chance. We'll make sure your sacrifice isn't in vain." As the Zarkov fleet approached, Earth's forces moved into position. Fighters and battleships, newly enhanced with alien technology, formed a defensive line around the planet. Sarah watched from Sentinel's bridge as the battle began. Earth's ships fought valiantly, drawing the Zarkov closer and closer. "Now, Sentinel," Sarah commanded as the enemy fleet reached the optimal position. "Initiate core overload." The ancient warship systems began to hum, the sound growing louder and louder. Energy readings spiked off the charts. "Core overload in 30 seconds, Sentinel announced. "You must evacuate immediately." Sarah and her team rushed to the escape pods. As they launched, Sarah looked back at the ship that had become their home and hope. "Thank you, old friend," she whispered. From the safety of their pods, they watched as Sentinel's hull began to glow, pulsing with incredible energy. The Zarkov ships, realizing too late what was happening, tried to retreat. But it was too late. With a silent flash that lit up the sky, Sentinel released its final burst of energy. An enormous electromagnetic pulse rippled out, engulfing both the Zarkov fleet and many of Earth's ships. In an instant, the mighty alien armada went dark. Ships drifted helplessly in space, their systems fried by the pulse. As the light faded, Sarah and her team stared in awe at the scene before them. The seemingly invincible Zarkov fleet now floated powerless in Earth's orbit. But the victory came at a great cost. Sentinel, the ancient relic that had given humanity a fighting chance, was gone. and many of Earth's own ships had been caught in the pulse, leaving them vulnerable. As rescue ships approached their pods, Sarah knew that the war wasn't over. But in that moment, as she looked at the disabled Zarkov fleet, she allowed herself to feel a glimmer of hope. The tide had turned. Humanity had a real chance now, and they would make sure Sentinel's sacrifice was not in vain. In the days following Sentinel's sacrifice, Earth hung in a precarious balance. The Zarkov fleet drifted powerless in orbit, their mighty ships now little more than space debris. But Earth's forces, caught in the electromagnetic pulse, were also struggling to recover. Sarah Chen, hailed as a hero for her role in the battle, found little time to rest. She led teams of scientists and engineers in a race against time to repair Earth's defenses before the Zarkov could recover. "We need to board those ships," she insisted in a tense meeting with world leaders. The Zarkov technology could be the key to our future defense. Despite concerns about the risks, Sarah's plan was approved. She would lead a team to capture the Zarkov command ship. As they approached the alien vessel in a hastily modified shuttle, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and dread. This was the culmination of everything they had fought for, yet the danger was far from over. The boarding team, dressed in bulky spacesuits, cut their way into the Zarkov ship. Inside, they found an alien landscape of twisted corridors and strange, pulsing technology. The ship's crew, caught off guard by the power loss, were in disarray. "Remember," Sarah warned her team, "we're here to capture, not conquer. We need their knowledge." As they pushed deeper into the ship, they encountered pockets of resistance. The Zarkov, though physically imposing, were clearly not prepared for close-quarters combat. Sarah's team, armed with weapons adapted from Sentinel's technology, managed to subdue them. Finally, they reached the bridge. The Zarkov commander, a towering figure with iridescent scales, stood waiting for them. To everyone's surprise, it spoke in halting English. "You fight well," it said. "Not prey, warriors." Sarah stepped forward, her weapon lowered but ready. "We don't want to be your enemies," she said, "but we will defend our home." The commander was silent for a long moment. Then, to Sarah's astonishment, it lowered its weapon. "Perhaps we judged too quickly," it said. "Your species. Interesting." Over the next few hours, an uneasy truce was formed. The Zarkov, impressed by humanity's resourcefulness and the power of Sentinel's technology, agreed to a ceasefire. They had never encountered a young species capable of such resistance. As news of the truce spread, celebrations erupted across Earth. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. In the months that followed, the world changed rapidly. With access to Zarkov technology and the knowledge gained from Sentinel, Earth's scientific progress leaped forward by centuries. The first faster-than-light ships were built, opening up the galaxy for exploration. Sarah, now heading Earth's new interstellar relations department, often found herself thinking of Sentinel. The ancient warship's sacrifice had not only saved Earth, but had catapulted humanity into a new era. 1 year after the battle, Sarah stood on a platform before a massive crowd. Behind her loomed a gleaming monument, a perfect replica of Sentinel, built as a reminder of the ship that had changed everything. Today, Sarah began her speech, her voice carrying across the hushed audience. "We remember the past and look to the future. Sentinel gave us a chance, but it was human courage, ingenuity, and unity that won the day." She paused, looking up at the monument. "We stand now on the brink of a new age. The stars are no longer distant lights, but new frontiers to explore. And as we venture out, we carry with us the lessons learned in our darkest hour." The crowd erupted in cheers as Sarah concluded, "We are no longer alone in the universe, but we have proven that humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. Our journey is just beginning." As the applause washed over her, Sarah felt a mix of pride and humility. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. Sentinel's ancient relic had awakened humanity's potential, and now the future stretched out before them. as vast and full of promise as the galaxy itself. Earth had not just survived, it had triumphed. And now, with the knowledge of the past and the technology of the future, humanity was ready to write its next chapter among the stars.